Visit Lavazzi and book1.co.uk present the 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast, episode 560. I'm Adam and welcome. This is the gang. I've got a gang, and here's Mary Lang.
Think how much wiser we'll be by the end of this.
Debbie Melrose. Yes, it is. It's Debbie Melrose.
Don't mess with Egyptian queens, Solomon.
And Kirby Potter Sloan.
What sort of a man doesn't carry a trowel?
Dinosaurs on a spaceship.
I do about the Christmas.
Yeah, why did nobody say dinosaurs on a spaceship?
Because
it's too irritating. That's why.
Yeah, so, somehow, okay. Kirby, I think you would be the one with the trowel.
No, I have something to say about that particular line, the way it's delivered and whatnot. Right then, we have stuff coming through on the live feed, or obviously anybody watching the live feed on the 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast Facebook group, which you can join. Apologies, because we're delayed because of the FA Cup semi-final penalty shootout.
You're delayed.
Yes. Yeah. So, Neil James says... Yes, thank you. Neil James says good evening, and he also... said, actually, I've got to get a priority jingle available for this next bit. There it is, right there. Tim Drury says, the one with the dinosaurs. Will Adam spend the whole episode watching football? I think I'd probably would have preferred to be fair, but never mind.
Mary will do the whole episode watching baseball.
Yeah. And then Neil said, haha, the segment what we watched this week is great. Listen, or is a great... Basically, that's two people now are ganging up on me for axing the what we watched this week segment of the show. However, I reckon they are the ones also guilty of switching off the live feed when we start the segment. So if we get another one saying, we need to retain... the what we watched this week section, I think I might resurrect it. How about the quiz people? How about the quiz people? Should we bring it back?
Yeah, sorry. The same people posting it on different places.
Master was one of those people just posted on the live feed.
One word.
Or are they the same person who said that they liked it on the Facebook?
That's what I just said.
Right. Okay. I'm telling you who it is now. I'm dropping names.
Neil.
Tim and Neil. Any more than Tim and Neil, who also say we should restore it, then we may indeed restore it. But at the moment, we're going to talk about dinosaurs on a spaceship. Right then, so the episode begins with the Doctor sort of hiring some new companions. One is Nefertiti. What?
On the Facebook group, you had another person say they liked it.
Oh, Kirby! Can we just watch this, please?
Right. Yeah. So
why can't we just go? It was a Chibnall story.
Yeah.
We hated it,
that's one of your better ideas, Kirby. Actually, but can we just get on with it? Anyway, so I'll try and get through it as quick as I can. Yeah. So what?
Garbage.
Shut up. Yeah. So
no, Adam, you know he's worse on ones he doesn't like. Come on.
Anyway, so the Doctor has hired Nefertiti, and then he's at the Indian Space Agency. Is that what it's called? Indian Space Agency? With that bird who used to be in Brookside and in Casualty, and
she's called Indira in this.
Yes, and she is very endearing. She's normally got a broad Scouse accent, so I was quite impressed by her Indian accent in this. And she looks like she's like the brigadier of the Indian Space Agency. Anyway, so there's a spaceship. Anyway, meanwhile, in the African Plains of 1902, some bloke was also hijacked by the Doctor as a companion. And then he goes and hijacks Amy and Rory, and accidentally, Rory's dad, who is played by Mark Williams and has the character name of Brian Williams. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, isn't that ironic? I've met Mark Williams, got a picture taken with him on the thing. And also, this is what turns this episode into a Harry Potter spin-off. Right then.
Yes.
So they arrive... What?
He's just going.
I said, indeed, yes.
Anyway, they arrive on the spaceship. Rory sort of tells the Doctor off for accidentally nicking his dad, who I like, by the way. I do like Rory's dad. I think I like Rory's dad. I like Amy. I like, who else do I like in this episode? The bloke who goes off with Nefertiti at the end, and I like Nefertiti. So immediately I like the cast. I also like the first Doctor in Grumpy Mode, and I also like Mitchell and Webb as the robots. So all good. Oh, I don't even mind the
cast around.
What?
I said it is a good cast all around.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a good cast.
Yes, all
Unfortunately,
right.
that's not
Thank
the
you,
problem.
Kirby. Thank you. I'm just saying what I like. No, I'd like to put in something I like. I also like the bird out of Brookside and the Casualty, who normally has a Scouse accent, who plays the Indian brigadier type person. Immediately they're running, which is good traditional Doctor Who stuff. They've got to be running from something at some point. The corridors are massive though, so it doesn't quite have that corridor feel about it. Anyway,
Master, this is one of the largest sets they ever built for Doctor Who.
Oh dear.
They end up running from some dinosaurs who are seen to having a little bit of a bickering session.
Dinosaurs on a spaceship, my goodness.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, they've
Also, later on when the Doctor sees the Triceratops, he goes, "Oh, no danger, herbivore." Well, and Chilosauruses are also herbivores. So.
Okay. Anyway, they find a computer console and fiddle with it and get transported. This is the Doctor and Brian and Rory, and they appear to be on a beach. And I quite like the fact that the weather, obviously, when they shot this scene on the beach, was absolutely appalling because everybody's completely drenched by the wind and rain and probably spray off the sea. But anyway, they dig down a little bit on the beach, or at least Brian.
Yeah, who expected Bad Wolf Bay to be carried up to that spaceship?
Yeah, well, it's going to be because there's only one beach like that in Wales. There's going to be that one, or South Wales, I should say. So I've been there, by the way, when I went on a school trip to the Gamma.
Did you see any weeping angels while you were there?
No, I saw some beach balls blowing down the beach. I remember that. Yes, Mary, you sounded like you're about to announce something.
No. Just listening.
So while that's all going on, Amy and Neffy get friendly and go all sort of create a little girls duo. And
I like the fact that she asks her, "Are you a queen?" and Amy says, yes.
Yes. Conversation between those two, yeah.
And then some
I liked Amy. Amy was really good in this story.
Oh,
I like that.
She's always good. And I like the character development, and I like the fact that she's using her experience as one of the Doctor's companion, because he keeps on leaving them behind, and they mention the length of time they've been left behind by the Doctor, which eventually implies several years.
Well,
which
it's 10 months.
I know, and this time it's 10 months,
visit,
but
yeah.
Previously they've been left a lot behind for a while, and there's been a couple of instances where the Doctor's left her behind and whatnot. So I accept that she's learned quite a lot, and she's always been quite feisty, but now she's gone from girl Amy, I feel, when we first met her in the police person's uniform, into very much woman Amy, and I quite like this just sort of subtle development.
I say she makes a point about how she can't hold down a job because she's always kind of listening.
Yeah,
but I like that subtle character development, and it's done beautifully by Karen Gillan, because Karen Gillan is a proper talent. I mean, that's why she's so good, and she's obviously shines on the screen, is absolutely stunningly beautiful. And the chemistry that is normally you get between Amy and Rory, which is present when they are together on screen, is totally present between Rory and the Doctor, and Rory and Mark Williams, his dad. Absolutely brilliant acting all the way through that, and I thoroughly enjoying that element of it. I have a slight complaint about.
Are we ignoring the robots though?
I haven't got that yet, but I just want to say I've just got a slight irritation about the Doctor in this story. This, for me, is the launch of Doctor Who being a bit up its own backside, in the way the Doctor has been a bit sort of up his own backside to a certain extent, and therefore the show becomes a bit up its backside and a bit arrogant about itself, whatnot.
Yeah, there's very few good episodes. There's very few good stories left until the 50th, unfortunately.
But anyway, it's a good sort of light-hearted sort of ensemble cast. Anyway, some pterodactyls turn up and they have to run across this beach and find a cave. What?
Technically, they're pterodons.
Shut up. And once they're in this this cave thingy, this is when they meet the robots. Obviously, Mitchell and Webb, who are so funny. I love the fact that the robots themselves are quite scary. You know, if you didn't have the Mitchell and Webb voice on them, they could have maybe put Darth Vader's voice, and they'd have a completely different aspect, even with saying the same lines. But it was quite menacing, them having this voice that you would normally laugh at, but they've got this sort of cutthroat, sort of almost like murderous attitude. You know, it was a good sort of flip on the robots' personalities, and yeah, they were good. And moving on. That now the behatted person from the explorer bloke, who at this point is starting to flirt big time with Neffy, and understandably so, because she's quite nice. And Amy then takes over and starts looking through the database to find out what she can.
His name is Riddle or Riddell, depending on which one you want.
Riddell. So Amy's starting to look for
him as an actor. I've had a mega crush on him since.
I didn't know you were an actor.
Room with a View. He's in Room with a View, and yeah, mega crush on him. Rupert Graves.
Master.
Slightly known people.
Master. The costumes for the robots were remodeled from ones used on CBBC's Mission 2110.
Well, you can tell it was maybe something childish.
Mm-hmm.
So, I forgot what I got up to now.
They're two of my favourite comedians.
What, Mitchell and Webb?
I hate them as the robots.
Right. Anyway.
There was some controversy 11 years ago because one of those two, I don't know them or anything, one of them was quoted as he didn't like Doctor Who, and then he was hired for Doctor Who.
David Mitchell, yeah.
Right, okay.
We went on and on at length about that 11 years ago.
Well, how unfair it is that we can't be in it.
No,
we're not going to go on about it at length.
Why did they hire someone who said he didn't like it?
Okay, anyway, I forgot where I got up to now. Right, so Amy is looking through the databases to find out where the ship comes from, and finds out that it was, in fact, a Silurian ship, but all the Silurians are dead. But the dinosaurs that the Silurians kept, it was almost like a Silurian ark. Some of the dinosaurs that they took with them are still alive, including the very cute Triceratops, which I think the doctor called Triceal or something like that.
Trice, yes.
Which does sort of get very friendly with Brian and put some horrible goo. And a good bit of acting by... I don't know if it's acting all true, because he did look absolutely revolted when this goo goes down his face, which is supposed to be like phlegmy, snotty stuff from the Triceratops. But it was.
Yeah, they just stole that straight out of Jurassic Park when the sneezing.
Oh, why not? He did it better anyway. But he happens to have a couple of golf balls in his pocket, and we find out that Tracy likes golf balls, and they're able to use the golf balls.
The doctor calls it Tracy, and he calls Nefertiti Neffy.
That's good. I would do too. Anyway, so moving forward. So Amy, the doctor is then escorted to this little room where Solomon is. Sorry, the first doctor is, who's a bit grumpy.
I knew you were going to do that. I predicted it several hours ago.
He's laid up, and he's got a bad leg, and he says if the doctor doesn't help him, then he's going to hurt his friend. So he immediately gets one of the robots to shoot Brian in the shoulder, and of course then we see Nursey Rory help his daddy. I haven't seen him be a nurse for a while, but it was appropriate.
You have to be reminded sometimes.
Yeah. Yes, that was all right. I like the bit where Rory goes, no, this isn't going to hurt. And it does, obviously.
I lied.
Yeah. So yeah, the doctor does what he's asked. He sort of gets Solomon back on his feet, and he regenerates. And Patrick Trout. No, that's a different story, isn't it? Moving forward a little bit.
I do like the weird full arm crutches.
Oh yes, okay. Anyway, they sneak out somewhat, but then the robots start chasing after them, and fortunately Tracy is there, and the Doctor jumps on Tracy's back, as do Brian and Rory, and a golf ball is thrown to get Tracy going, as the robots, who are just like Daleks, not particularly good shots, firing laser shots everywhere and missing them at every available opportunity.
They were obviously being trained by Imperial stormtroopers.
Exactly. Anyway, it gets to the point where the Indian Space Agency have to launch their missiles because the Doctor hasn't quite done what he needs to do in the time frame required, which makes me think. Bearing in mind, the last episode he wanted to leave Amy and Rory behind, or not, to save them from the danger of being with him, and he's brought all these people into a danger which is probably one of the worst dangers they've had for a while. So that made a little bit of lack of sense in regards to, why would you take some of your best friends onto a spaceship which has got missiles pointing at it, etc., etc. But anyway, he did.
Well, it's Chibnall. What do you expect?
No, Chibnall didn't do it. It was the Doctor. He called. Oh, shut up. So anyway, Solomon comes up and threatens everybody again. Something about enabling the ship to fly, whatnot. And if he doesn't help him, he's going to hurt his friends. So he shoots poor old Tracy, or gets the robots to shoot Tracy, because the BBC couldn't afford to have it in any more episodes. It was very sad, poor little Tracy. And then, of course, the robot grabs Neffy, and he's very menacing and horrible in this episode. And then he looked into the watch, the fob watch, and became the first Doctor again. At some point. So eventually because his spaceship's in the middle of this big sort of Silurian spaceship, the Doctor manages to find a way of getting them all onto the bridge of this little spaceship via a teleport. And,
Master,
you
can see that Solomon's spaceship is pretty small, and you can see it in relationship to the rest of the Silurian arc.
Yes.
And they state at the beginning of the story that the Silurian arc is the size of Canada. Canada shrunk.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but the one of the spaceships can be flied by people of the same gene, whatever, i.e.
Convenient.
Rory and Brian.
How convenient.
Yeah. Well, it's quite good. I didn't mind it. They've done that in all sorts of franchises. But anyway, I've done it in this particular franchise to give Rory and Brian a chance to help fly the spaceship, and the missiles blow up the Silurian ship while the other little ship is saved or whatnot. And that's basically the end of the story.
No, the missiles blow up Solomon's ship, not the Silurian
I don't
ship.
care either way. Anyway, so Doctor gives Brian the chance to sit on the edge of the TARDIS and look down at Earth while sipping a cup of tea. Very Wilf like scene that.
Yes, we all think of,
yeah. And there's a sort of scene where Amy and Rory are sort of looking out, watching him, and the Doctor's sort of in the background, looking a bit pensive and worried, like he knows something's going to happen.
I was also reminded of Amy being held by her foot as she's.
That's true. Yeah. And then the next scene is obviously Neffy is now with the other hunter bloke,
which makes no sense because he's a jackass.
Well, she's very nice looking, so that's good to have her back in the scene. And then there's a scene in Rory and Amy's house where Brian had got his people have stuck stickers of Brian against various postcards.
Yeah.
That was a bit weird. Didn't quite make sense to me. Why don't you just sort of make it look like he is, rather than stick a sticker there? Make it look like he should Photoshop. Even in those days,
they used too much of their budget on Dinosaurs.
Yeah, that wouldn't have cost an awful lot of money. I could have done it for him.
Also, the postcard of the drawing of Siluria with the dinosaurs and the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The TARDIS is the wrong model TARDIS.
Oh no.
I'd say. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say now. Where did we get up to before I got interrupted again?
Postcards.
You were talking about the Brian stickers on the.
Yeah. I could have done that for them
Postcards.
free of charge as long as I got a credit at the end of
I
the
thought
blooming
they were
episode.
postcards, not stickers.
No, they were postcards with stickers of Brian on them. They didn't look like they were supposed to. I believe. I think they might have been trying to make it look like he was actually there, but it looked like somebody had cut out a sticker of Brian and stuck it on the postcard.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you'll see on that TARDIS on there. There's no St. John's ambulance.
Oh dear, how sad. Never mind. Right then. Right, Dinosaurs on a spaceship. Didn't dislike it as much as I did the first time I watched it. I prefer now to recognise that it's a bit of a silly story, but it's not the worst of stuff we've had previously. It's quite good fun in a way, and the cast do their jobs perfectly, and some of the dialogue's really good. Chibnall, no Chibnall. There's some great lines and little in jokes and whatnot, which work really, really well. I think when you go into an episode like this, knowing it's sort of likely to sort of be reminded as being quite bad, you can just watch it and enjoy elements of it you may not have done before, and just pick up on that rather than the rubbish bits. I'm not saying there aren't rubbish bits in it, but ignore that. Don't take any notice of the fact that this is supposed to be a coherent story, and just watch it for all the fun bits. It's actually okay, to be fair. The other thing to take into account is obviously that little subtle look of the Doctor, that he seems to know something's going to be happening to Amy and Rory. And we know something's going to be happening to Amy and Rory, again, which doesn't make sense, as I'll talk about that when we cover that episode.
Why would we assume that his look between those two means something
with hindsight, my darling,
happened to them?
With hindsight.
It could be that just his time with them is going to come to an end.
Yes, well, that's what I mean.
Doesn't mean anything's going to happen to them.
Well, he's supposed to be able to, as the Eccleston Doctor said, see all of space and time, so he must know something's coming for them.
Right, but he may know, but the viewer would not know.
No, but that little look is supposed to hint something, isn't it?
Yeah, but it couldn't just mean that he knows his time with them is coming to an end.
That's what I mean.
He could have stayed away from Manhattan.
Most of this season, he's casting looks at them like that.
Yeah.
Like they're really, really laying it on. This is the last time.
I don't deny that to be the case. But I feel that this episode, is just a little comfy cushion, because we've got episodes leading up to the departure of a pairing, I love characters, love actors in the series. So I didn't mind it as much, anywhere near as much as I previously, but I do recognise and understand why people don't like it. What did you think about it, Debbie?
Pretty much agree with you on most points, definitely. I mean, but then again, it feels like this one is geared to pull kids into the Doctor Who universe. This felt like a step back into being a bit more kid-friendly, because obviously lately it's been a lot of scares with the Daleks, and all that sort of thing. And it's like this one, as you say, is a cushion. And this is one that, if Ryder had watched it with me, she wouldn't have run off screaming. So, it would have been, I usually manage to terrify her with something or other on Doctor Who, but this wouldn't have been one of them. And, with all the dinosaurs, she'd be doing what Kirby did, telling me all the dinosaur names, that sort of thing, because she knows them all. And, and I felt it was a bit of fun. I didn't enjoy this the first time round. I thought Mitchell and Webb grossly misplaced as and completely out of touch as the two robots. I thought that hit wrong every time. And the way that they bicker and things, it's like we didn't need that, they could have just been menacing without saying anything. The menace would have been there if they hadn't.
But it was fun having Mitchell and Webb.
Well, but I think
love Mitchell and Webb. Mitchell and Webb are two of my favourite comedians, but they don't work on Doctor Who.
But I thought I quite
enjoyed it. Doesn't it give you a nice contrast, though? You think, these are cuddly robots. Yeah. They're going to be so nice.
Yes.
And then when you do the doctors, the guy's command by hurting Brian.
Yes, yeah. No, I totally get
if they were menacing from the start, we would not have been surprised, but that set us up for a surprise.
Yeah.
I suppose so, but I don't find this episode gripped me enough for me to really invest in being surprised, if you see what I mean. Not contradicting what you're saying, but I sort of sat through it with my head sort of in my hand, watching it, going, I have to watch this one again. And I enjoyed it. I mean, I love seeing oh God, I can never remember his name.
The Doctor.
No, the guy who played Brian.
Mark Williams,
you know, Mr. Weasley. Love him. I've always loved him in everything, and he was great as Rory's dad. Perfect familial casting. Absolutely brilliant. And the music in this is really adventurous and upbeat, and but there's the element with the themes going through it as well of there is something coming, and they want us to feel the boil happening. The looks, the pauses, the dramatic emphasis on nothing, which becomes something, is always well done, and Chibnall always managed to get that right. It's just he then played it again when he took over. So at the moment, when he's just writing a few stories, it's not eating into the whole feel of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
With what happened when he took over. So we're still getting the ups, downs, the different writers, the different positions, the end game is coming. And then you've got this with some cracking CGI dinosaurs. The kiss between Rory and the Doctor is hilarious because that's not scripted at all. And
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was really good. I like that.
Yeah, Matt Smith being a jerk. You can see Arthur's real face going.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
A great filler, but it doesn't grip me the way a lot of Doctor Who does, and I know that this is going to become a comment that I will be saying more and more as we go through the next couple of seasons. It's just not going to it didn't hold me, whereas previous seasons have gripped, held, made me cry. I've not been emotional over Doctor Who for a very long time, which is such a shame, but when we went back through the story, went through the journey, I was emotional and I'm reconnected with Doctor Who, because unfortunately what's coming made me lose interest a bit, and I don't want that to happen. So watching happy episodes like this, it's kind of nice, but also I'm like, I know what's coming. I know the story's coming. I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy more than I did last time. And I'm hoping to get Tom back into it, because he stopped watching about now and never started again.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, see what we can do.
Okay.
But I've waffled on long enough. Go on.
Kirby.
Couple of points here. First of all, it's interesting. This is 2 weeks in a row where you've said you like this differently than the way before, whereas and you didn't like it the first time. Well, remember, I listen to our comments every week when I have a chance, and you loved Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. After
who are you talking to, Adam or me?
Me.
Adam, because you weren't on. Debbie,
no, I guess not. But the way you followed up after me, I was like, have we watched it?
No. Adam, you'd only seen it one time, and you were gushing over it. So
okay, well, I can understand if I was gushing over it, because I did.
I'm just. It's interesting how your memories of it changed, because you obviously watched it again right around the same time and realized it had problems. Whereas I also very definitely liked it way better 11 years ago than that dreary thing that I sat through last night watching this. I mean, yeah, the cast is great. The characters make no sense. Why have the big game hunter? Why have Nefertiti? Solomon is horrible.
Yeah.
He's one of the. If this is supposed to be lighthearted, you've got someone who just shoots people, or has his robots shoot people. It's just horrible. It's very out of character for the Doctor to. You trap someone in a mirror forever. You don't just have them killed. unless like the Seventh Doctor had all of Skaro blown up, but that was a long time ago.
Finding exceptions.
So, yeah, that was very out of character for the Doctor to have Solomon blown up. He should have done something else to him.
Well, he did give him the option to, not go down that route. He's done that before.
Well, yeah. Did you get a hint at all that he might be saved, that he might turn around?
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well.
I did like the special effects, although I wish they'd been consistent. When they got around to the Velociraptors, they had the feathers that were great and everything, but the others didn't have feathers. It was interesting that was a full-size actual baby T-Rex that Millennium Effects had built it for a display, and they said, "Oh, use this." So they weren't stepping around a CGI T-Rex there. It's not as bad as Chibnall could later become, but it was Chibnall. Ugh. I'm done.
And hang on.
Yes.
Mary.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you all.
Oh.
And again, it's because we have the benefit of hindsight. We know what's coming. We know we're going to hate it. So this is a time to settle back and enjoy what there is to enjoy.
Fair enough.
So I see this as being a primarily comedic episode.
Yes.
So I just got into the comedy of it and really enjoyed it for that. As to the point of, how the Doctor always gives villains, an extra chance, I don't see that there could have ever been any hint that this guy could have turned around and gotten any better than he was. So I did not mourn, or question his eradication. I mean, after he got rid of how many thousands of Silurians just by putting them through an airlock, I don't think that guy was going to change at all. And we all
neither were the creatures from that in the story where the Doctor was John Smith and I forget what they're called, the father of mine, mother of mine. They were bad too, but he didn't kill them.
Right.
Well, that's fine. But I did.
Well, it wasn't actually the Doctor that killed him. It was actually the missile that the Indian space.
Though, if he wanted to, if Solomon wanted to, he could have jettisoned the thing that the missile was pointing at.
Okay.
So it was his. It was the Doctor basically went, "Well, you can get out of this if you tried."
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry
to interrupt.
That's all right.
No, it's not an interruption. I prefer conversation to just single-voiced opinions.
Sorry.
So don't say sorry. Interrupt.
Because I went on.
No. That's fine. I like that even better. And we all know that Chibnall is going to kill Doctor Who, so we all hate Chibnall.
Yeah.
So many episodes that he writes, like this one, and I thought this was well written. The comedy that he wrote, the freedom that the actors had to play with it, all of that, I think, this is like a good thing for Chibnall. I was surprised to see his name as the writer, but I celebrated the episode because I enjoyed it so much. And of course, I fall in love with Rory's dad. I mean, there's all those little snippets that they put on the internet of Rory's family, his relationship with his father and all that. So of course that all built on, this. So I just, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the interactions. I loved Amy and Nefertiti's conversations about, so are you Rory's queen? And I don't know. I think that Matt Smith is probably the only one that kind of came up short because he kind of overplayed the comedy. Everybody else played it as their character.
I got that as well.
But Smith kind of overdid it, kind of like, screaming at us. This is supposed to be funny. So he's the only one that I would take a little exception to. And for it to be a Doctor Who, we have to have a baddie. And Chibnall wrote a pretty nasty baddie. So that's okay with me. That was in there. But mostly I look at it as a comedy and enjoyed it for that. So I liked it.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Mary.
Do you realize that Rory has traveled in the TARDIS with both his dad and his daughter?
Yeah, there's a lot of mind games we can play whenever we bring River Song into all of this. Yes.
Anyway, right, so that moves us on to Kirby's bit, which I haven't got a theme tune for because Ben has it, and I should perhaps
Yes, you should go back and pull it out one of the other episodes. Hopefully this hasn't changed
really
much.
Find the time to create an individual one, but unfortunately I'm quite busy.
Hopefully this hasn't changed since I last refreshed the screen.
Well,
but you guys will let me know.
Just interrupt. I had a reminder pop up, when Facebook gives you your reminders. And 12 years ago on this day, 23rd of April 2011, I've written, having a brain that functions in a similar way to the current Doctor Who writer, Moffat, means this season is already wrapped up for me like the last. Hell, I'll still enjoy the ride. Fab opener. And that was last week, I think.
Oh, my goodness.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Billy Kirkbright, I attempted to watch it. times 2 back in 2013. Sigh, and it didn't impress me much. I'll give it another go tonight and give you my thoughts. It was broadcast in 2012, so anyway. Billy Kirkbright also says,
right, then that means I'm a year ahead with the previous season. So
he says, I'm halfway through. It's not looking good. Face slap. Billy Kirkbright. Hand on forehead emoji.
Oh, yeah, face palm.
Face palm, that's it. Yeah. Billy Kirkbright, utter crap. Came up on the episode 11 minutes before it finished. Seeing this again was a reminder of why I stopped watching contemporary Who a number of years ago. Mr. M. I'm not a taxi service, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship by Chris Chinball. This episode is very interesting to look at in comparison to Chibber's era. In many ways, it suffers from all the same problems, too many characters with not enough to do, interesting ideas that are slammed together without fully being explored, incredible coincidences that defy logic. The Doctor just happens to bring a big game hunter along with him for no reason. The ship needs 2 people with similar DNA to fly it. Chibnall also likes to take lesser-known historical figures and put them into interesting scenarios, see Skyfall, such as Nefertiti. The Doctor is also much more childlike in this episode, and it takes an unexpectedly darker turn as dealing with Solomon. It's a shame 13 never got the chance to do that. Oh, and of course, this episode shares some of the cast of Broadchurch, such as David Bradley and Arthur Darvill. Was Arthur Darvill in Broadchurch?
Yes, he played the vicar.
Yes, he was. He was a priest.
Okay. You don't have to have been in Broadchurch to play the Doctor, but it helps. Oh, and Karen Gillan is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though I don't think much of the jumper she's wearing. Oh. This episode also continues the theme of light bulbs, with the pawns being interrupted in the middle of changing one. Overall, this is an okay episode. It's a nice change of pace, and it works well within the context of the series. But I wouldn't want every episode to be like this. It would be madness to let the writer of this episode do many more in the future.
Very good.
6 out of 10. Next time, Doctor Who and the Gunfighters.
Oh, that was a dong-ding, wasn't it? It hints to something, doesn't it? The dong-ding. That's because I've just sent something to Mary.
Yes, which gives...
Neil James says, Hiya, sorry I missed feedback last week. Asylum of the Daleks. Jenna Louise Coleman turns in a fantastic performance for her debut. I noticed some of Osmond's dialogue is already really dated, though. I still find the puns a bit annoying, but this is a pretty decent episode. 3 stars out of 5. Excuse me.
Excuse you. That right in my ear hole.
Giving us a bit of feedback.
That's all
Dinosaurs on a
green,
Spaceship.
and it's not dinosaur snot, is it? Ugh.
Yes, it is. It's actually there's a lot of pollen in the air.
Oh.
I'm having issues.
Tissues. I've got some tissues. Where are they?
Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. This is pretty good fun. There's probably too many characters, but I absolutely love Mark Williams as Rory's dad.
He's good.
David Bradley is really good in this one, too. Matt Smith continues to shine, and the effects are top-notch. But it's all just nonsense, really, isn't it?
It was.
3 stars out of 5. Lillian Robin. I won't be available on Sundays for the next few weeks to watch your live recording.
Oh,
Sorry.
here we go. Excuses. Reese! Copyright.
Then she says, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. Typical Chibbers rubbish. I didn't even bother to try and watch it this week. Okay. That's it.
Oh, that's it.
Do you want Robert's feedback?
I was going just about. Well done, Debbie. You must have read my mind. I was going to say, Debbie, could you read Robert's bit? I mean, a feedback.
Okay, this is what I think of Dinosaurs on a Spaceship from Robert. Who wrote this crud? Oh, that's right. One of the worst producers on Doctor Who. Chibbers, is this story made for 6-year-olds? Why is it all done as though it's a comedy show? No wonder I lost interest with the show around here, bar the odd episode. Doctor Who this ain't. And just so we know, the title of the episode, Chibbers, has the cast constantly repeat, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. At least now I know the title of the story to avoid. Oh, and we still have another Chibber episode to come this series too. Though the best thing of the story was David Bradley.
Oh.
This is weird. When I click on all comments, I don't see all comments. If I click on top comments, Ian's
So you just
comment
realised Facebook messes up every time it suggests you look at comments.
Yeah, yes, it does.
It's like, look at all your comments. Oh, no, there's one you can see.
And he also, Ian has said a couple other things besides his script. He says Nefertiti was angry at the hunter at first, but she ended up in his tent. Cliche. This week I watched Have I Got News for You with David Tennant.
Oh. Good. Sorry, I just realised somebody booked me and I didn't put it in the diary. Thanks, Debbie, for reading that. Before, so Mary can get us off primed and I can respond to this email. Oh, I can't. I'll do the response of the email on the next section of the show. Just remind me that I've got to do it. We're going to play this.
Had a lovely day. Been to the Sonic Walk with the Guildford Shakespeare Company as we trek around Guildford and people perform Shakespeare at us, including one impromptu additional performance by a lady of mature years who had clearly drink taken. However, enough of that. But yesterday we watched Dinosaurs in a Spaceship, not with Eileen. Actually watched it after I got back to the rugby, and Storm again watched it with me. I was going to try and get him to do it, but he's too busy playing on the iPad. However, he got really excited. He was jumping him down, identifying all the dinosaurs. So he certainly enjoyed it. I did enjoy it as well. It was a bit of a nonsense story, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Why would you have dinosaurs on a spaceship? And not really sure we actually did find out. But I think what was good, the way it was set up with the characters, with Queen Nefertiti and the famous explorer, who looks very familiar from Sherlock. I can't think why he just looked that. And, the ponds coming along, and Brian Williams, and this is one of Zach's favourite lines, when he said to Ronnie's dad, I'm not a pond, or what his dad said, and Zach thought that was really funny. He was 27 years old, these things too. I mean, it was something that probably was played for more of a comedy for laughs. I mean, those blooming stupid robots, they really did annoy me. But it was quite clever in the way that you got Eunice in there, and you got the Doctor desperately trying to save the Earth from destroying this spaceship and all the problems that would cause. Interesting, of course, you have the second ever time that a future Doctor has appeared in another garden. No, actually, the third time, of course. Sorry, I forget. Peter Capaldi was the second. In the first of David Bradley, although was he actually playing a future Doctor or a past Doctor? Interesting thought, that. However,
yes,
it took me to about 10 seconds to realise who he was. I recognised everything. Oh my God, of course, it's the first Doctor. But I thought the Ponds were very good in this. I thought the way Rory reacted to his father was quite good. I think we all have our own good paternal relations, and sadly mine died 15 years ago, but I still have very, very fond memories of him. And the way you generally take the mick out of each other at times was very reminiscent here. And this clearly is, they are a very, very loving father-son relationship there. And also the way he looked after Amy as well, I thought was very good. The Doctor was his enigmatic self, changed his mind every time he decided to do something. No, we're going to do something else instead. Totally confusing people. But that's the way of the Doctor, isn't it? Well, I thought that was good as well. And I think the bit at the end, where there's Brian sitting on the edge of the TARDIS, the cheese sandwich, looking at the world. I mean, it's not something that, it's something I really would love to do. And obviously, never get a chance to do it. But you can imagine somebody wanting to do that. Just to take the opportunity to travel. So, given the fact he's travelling with TARDIS, does that actually make him a companion? I wonder. Anyway, until next time, be seeing you.
Thank you, Andy. It was Andy Nunny, everybody. And I think we'll move on to Mary's dulcet tones.
Do you have Ian's feedback too?
Yeah, I think we'll move on to Mary's dulcet tones.
Yeah, I'm going with what he said because it's nice to listen to double feedback. But
okay, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship or Jurassic Ark in Space. Well, now this is a Chibnall story about dinosaurs on a spaceship, which, not to spoil it, is true in two ways. This one is full of TV stars: Rupert Graves, Mark Williams, someone called David Bradley, whoever he is. Then there's Ryan Steele and Sunetra Sarkar. Oh, yes, and funny dialogue between the two robots, voiced by David Mitchell and Robert Webb. Great bit of acting when the Doctor turns around and accuses Brian of being an infiltrator. Solomon should not have, in quotes, spaced the Silurians that got the Doctor's backup immediately. The lines in this one couldn't have been written by Chibnall. In quotes, a spaceship driven by dinosaurs? Brian, please, that would be ridiculous. They're probably just passengers. How wrong the Doctor was. In quotes, Doctor, this is a two-man job. Then to Amy, what are you doing? I'm easily worth two men, but you can help if you like. You don't have any vegetable matter in your pockets, do you, Brian? Only my balls. The Doctor to Indra, I liked you till you said missiles. From Brian, I'm flying a spaceship. The throwback to 2001 with the deactivated robot singing Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer due. All in all, a fun romp with excellent CGI. Stay safe, everybody. Linda and Terry.
Marvellous. Well done, Mary. It seems like you've done that before.
Oh, a few times.
Hello, 20 Megabyte Podcast. This is Ian Kirk.
Hello, Ian.
Dinosaurs on a Spaceship by Chris Chibnall. And you, Amy, are you also a queen? The Indian Space Agency seems to be in charge in the future. NASA has been short of cash lately, and it seems they will run out entirely. The Doctor is just finishing an adventure in ancient Egypt, and Queen Nefertiti decides to come along. The Doctor collects his friend the Big Game Hunter before he finds out there is really some big game involved. Rory's dad Brian accidentally gets taken along, and his trowel comes in handy. Also, they happen to need two close relatives to fly the spaceship. They could have had Amy and Rev a song. Brian always hated travelling, but after he saw the world from space, he wanted to travel the world. The Doctor refuses to save Solomon in the end. An enjoyable romp. I did not like the bitchy robots though. We had a national test alert on our mobile phones today.
No,
that will come in handy if we have a Dalek invasion. Bye for now.
Yes, I didn't because I turned off all my emergency notifications. But it was quite interesting being sat at a till at the time, waiting for 3 o'clock to approach just to see what happened. It was a bit like in 1999 when the midnight approached on December the 31st and expecting everything to sort of suddenly all start falling apart, but nothing really happened. It just went. A few people had that sort of noises went off. I was rather pleased with myself because it didn't the fact that I turned off emergency notifications on my phone meant that nothing really happened, and I think the same happened for everybody else who had turned off the emergency notifications. I mean, I heard everybody else's, so I was there.
I got mine a minute early. I'm on the first arc.
You what? What did you say?
My alarm went off, so I'm sat there waiting for it to happen.
Yes.
And I still jumped out of my seat because mine went off at 14:59. It turns out there were a select few of us. We were like,
those are ones that are being sent to Russia.
Everybody else went off at 3 or didn't. There's us going, ooh, the elite.
You didn't end up on the B arc with the hairdressers.
Yeah, and they sent us off first. Yeah.
Excellent. Well done, everybody. That was very slick.
Maybe.
Very slick indeed. Right. Doctor Who news. Stephen Moffat. We've already do that last? No, we didn't. Stephen Moffat Minster Terrace. No, we did do that last. Moving on. New images.
So we no longer get the counselors.
No, we
feedback.
don't. New images of the 15th Doctor released. It's a picture of Ncuti dressed in. Looks like.
Don't they look?
Looks like a sort of 1970s Starsky and Hutch style gangster.
Teddy boy, Huggy Bear type thing.
Yeah, very catching. Blues,
except they said that this one's set in the swinging 60s.
Yeah, baby.
I suppose it could pass the 60s, to be fair, but yeah, it's quite cool.
But what I'm hoping is that maybe they'll be there in 1963 and close to a certain junkyard.
That'd be cool as well. The BBC has released new images featuring Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor. The images are from the story currently being filmed for a series that will air in 2024. Alongside Gatwa, as the Doctor is Millie Gibson, who plays Ruby Sunday, the companion in the story. It's official, the TARDIS has landed in the 60s. A first look at the Doctor and Ruby as they arrive in the swinging 60s as filming continues for the new series. Doctor Who returns in November 2023 with 3 special episodes with David Tennant as the 14th Doctor to coincide with the 60th anniversary. Ncuti Gatwa's first episode as the 15th Doctor will then air over the festive period. Doctor Who will premiere exclusively on the BBC and for the UK and Ireland, and Disney Plus will be the exclusive home for new seasons of Doctor Who outside the UK and Ireland. Here we go. Doctor Who.
I know it's probably coming up on the news thing, but Matt Smith was confirmed as being in the 60th specials.
I hadn't heard that, but thank you for...
I had not heard that. I heard there was a rumor.
It got confirmed overnight. About 3-4 in the morning, it suddenly went up, like, on Facebook. It's happening.
That's
so fingers crossed. It seemed to be quite reputable agencies reporting about it. So
it wasn't the Daily Mail.
What about David Tennant?
No, not the Daily Mail. That's not reputable. How dare you?
Yeah, I didn't know. That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Nice to hear. I agree.
Excuse me.
Yes, so... I've forgotten what I was going to say now. Oh, yeah, so on the subject of doctors, we have... because a few of us have managed to get press passes to Portsmouth Comic-Con.
Well done.
So, but having press passes means I have to do stuff for the podcast there. Otherwise, I'm there under false pretenses.
You don't have to do that. You just kept your recorder out. Job done.
No, I can do it officially. I've got a press pass. Well, I haven't got it yet. I will when I get there. Anyway, so Colin Baker has been announced for Portsmouth Comic Con, which is great. So that means I can finally get round to giving him the picture that the photograph we took of everybody at FantasyCon 1.
Yes.
The good thing about that is it might remind him of us. So he's going to be there, and I'll get yet another interview with him, and yeah, that'd be quite good. I won't be asking
as if interviews with him are boring. No, they're not.
No, it won't be boring. But I'm not going to ask him questions like, "Do you remember when you did this? Do you remember when you drove in a car with Kirby? Do you remember when you drove in a car with me and Christopher Ryan?" He might remember that bit because Christopher Ryan was there. I don't know. But yeah, I'm looking forward to.
You should ask him if he remembers the Needles.
No, he'll probably think ask him if he remember. He probably would. He does remember that. He remembers driving the Isle of Wight ferry. He always bangs on about that when the Isle of Wight is mentioned. Yeah, so that's going to be quite exciting in a few weeks' time. I think I talked about Heroes Con last week. Fantasy Con started to ramp it up a little bit now. Heroes Con is out of the way. Like I say, we announced Elodie Grace Hawkin. We announced that, and these are people that listen to this show will already know, obviously, because I have given people the heads up. But Kai Owen has been also announced. We have been sort of putting the feelers out for a couple of people who are exceptionally expensive. I'm going to give you an example. Put the feelers out today, actually. I got an email back about somebody we talked about a few weeks ago from, the episode where River's songs being Amy and Rory's daughter is, I think it's Demon's Run, isn't it? The one where, and there was a Lorna Bucket in that episode. Do you remember?
Yes.
Yes.
And the actress who plays Lorna Bucket is also in Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Oh, that's right. So she's become quite expensive now, whereas she probably would have been cheap.
Well, I could get her, but someone would have to give me a few £1,000s to actually achieve this. She's currently living in Britain, and at the time of the convention, this is Christina Chong, by the way, at the time of the convention, she'll be promoting Series 2 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, so that would be really cool. But frustratingly, can't quite afford. She's not massively expensive, not a David Tennant's £25,000 fee, but just slightly out of the reach unless we get somebody who wants to, invest in the event. And another one, a chap called Adam Basil, who
did I see that you're going to have Kai Owens there?
Kai Owen.
Yeah.
Yes, he just said that.
Stop being horrible, Kirby. Yeah, Kai Owen has come in because
sometimes we zone out.
It's the third attempt to get him. The first attempt failed because of some world pandemic that got in the way of everything. The second one failed because he had a filming job to do at the time we did the event. So hopefully this is the third time lucky for us. This obviously is added on to the Julian Seeger Valide, who hasn't actually officially been announced yet, but she's the 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast special guest. So I'm going to try and sort of shoehorn her into being with our setup at the event, but I've got a funny feeling that a certain event coordinator, Deborah Pearson, might veto that, but I will try.
Why? I'm good company.
Craig Fairbrass, I really do hope he comes along because his announcement has generated a lot of interest in the event, along with obviously Elodie. Martin Ballantyne is going to be coming back. He's very popular with some people and not popular with others, but he's also him. You have to say about Martin, he's a lovely bloke and he really supports the event and he'd do anything to come along, and I like that sort of attitude.
He is fantastic. I love
and he's
it.
so good at self-promotion. So even to being the only guest we've ever had who's got his own Funko Pop, because he actually gets them made for himself. He's great. We've got a few cosplay stars coming along. We've got Madame Bella Cosplays, who is a cosplay artist of the highest order. We've also got James Valentine, who's coming as the 10th Doctor, and really does look the part, to be fair. That's somebody that Roy's managed to get in, but having, as Roy keeps banging on, having a screen-used TARDIS to our disposal, it is always very useful. Trouble is that the TARDIS is to the disposal of every event on the other way. We've got Dead Star Publishing coming.
Wait, how's it a screen-used TARDIS?
It's been used by the BBC.
Telly.
Been used by the BBC, and there are pictures of Colin with one of the. I think it was used on what do they call those things on DVDs? An extra, a special film. Ask Roy. Roy Spearman, ask him. It has been screen used. There are pictures, and the BBC have used it a couple of times. So if the BBC have used it, it's not maybe going to be appearing in the official series, but it's still a BBC screen used TARDIS, and it can be advertised as such. You're going to argue with that one, but you want to point those arguments at Roy, who owns the TARDIS. And
I thought the Doctor owned the TARDIS.
Colin Baker. It is one of Colin Baker's TARDISes because Colin Baker has been the Doctor with that as the prop. Debbie, tell him.
I'm I'm not arguing. I just want to know where to see it. That's all.
I'll see if I can find an image.
You always doubt us, and you want everything down to the.
I'm pretty sure that Roy has actually posted a picture of this. Oh, mind you, it's a secret at that stage.
Oh no, he's posted a couple of times
of Colin with his TARDIS.
Okay. I'll go and look later.
Which is officially
Otherwise,
named.
you accuse me of not paying attention.
Which is officially named The Old Girl. It's actually advertised as such. And that TARDIS will indeed be at Portsmouth Comic Con. And that's a good thing about having your own TARDIS, especially if TARDIS of that caliber. It gets you into conventions.
Yes.
Right then.
I have some Doctor Who news. At least
I haven't finished the Fantasy Con news yet.
Okay.
Dan Digby, comic artist of the highest order, who is now teamed up with Heroes, who have their own comic in publication. Something Hair. Deb, help. Something
What?
Hair. Deb.
something Hair. What?
That's the Dan Digby and Heroes published cartoon series. Something.
I can't remember.
Hair. Oh, for God's sake! I've got to look it up now. Right, God's sake. Go on then, Kirby, while I look up Dan Digby.
At least I don't. This was not in Doctor Who news. I don't. It's just in regular.
No, I said mine.
In regular news, a few days ago, Doctor Who star Ncuti Gatwa to take leading role in King Charles's coronation concert.
Was he singing?
No, he's going to perform excerpts from Shakespeare.
Oh. Hardcore Hair. That's who it was that Heroes and Dan Digby, the comic strip from the Isle of Wight. Meg Hewison is a comic writer from the island, graphic novelist as well. And like I say, Dead Star Publishing, coming over from Wales, they're an online comic. So we've got some comic things at a Comic-Con, which was always very useful. We thought we were lacking in that last time. Jedi High School featuring Darth Vader. And yeah, I've come up with some names for of the segments of the trading hall as well. I thought it was quite clever. So I've got Norm Alley. So we'll have one stretch of shops called Norm Alley, another one called Unusual Alley. I thought that was quite clever, and that's never been done before, using alley from words like that as alley. What do you think, Deb? Very original, isn't it? Everyone gone to sleep. God, it's like having Andy Nunny on the show. Right, okay, so that's the end of the FantasyCon news
I didn't
section.
realise you needed me to be going, yep.
Cineworld are coming along
Right
to
behind you.
do
Yes, definitely.
Yes, I am right behind you. I support everything you say, and everything you say is right. There you go.
Thank you.
Yes,
Cineworld
absolutely.
are coming along as well. They support us every year. It's great. Every time we do a show, Cineworld are there. So that's rather fantastic. More to follow on that front, and yes, I need to get lots of posters out. So I need people sharing posts and putting posters up wherever you can, fly postering and whatnot. That's all going to be coming up over the next few weeks.
Huzzah!
And, what? Oh, we're trying to get friendly with Red Funnel as well, so we can get an advert on there. And there's all sorts of bits and bobs happening. So, yay! Well, also, it makes it very helpful when Debbie Pearson, the event coordinator, is actually in wanting it to happen. We just have to be a bit careful. It's just so frustrating. We haven't quite got enough money to get that bird off Star Trek. I'll have to email her back as well, saying I can't afford it. Yeah. Oh yes, I was going to ask you to remind me to put that in the diary, not her. The other bit. Anyway, moving on.
I just remembered something. When we started the podcast, you said that you had something to say about my quote about the trowel.
The trowel? No, I don't think I was talking about that. It was about something else.
Okay.
But now I can't remember. What about the trowel?
I don't know.
Can't remember about.
You said when we get to it, you were reminded about something, and we skipped right over it.
No, I can't remember now. I should have written it down, shouldn't I? Right.
No.
Now, obviously, the big debate about the whether we should have what we watched this week has come about. That 3 people have piped up with it. We should do it, and that's probably about 100% of our listenership. So. Maybe so. I don't know if we've got time to. I can gloss over. We've just been watching Married at First Sight Australia mainly this week. Tried to watch Mandalorian. But when we found out we had to watch all of Boba Fett, it's sort of like wee-weed on our bonfire a little bit to actually have to go back and watch the Boba Fett episodes when we've watched one episode of Mandalorian. So not quite sure what we're going to do on that front. Still haven't got around to watching Star Trek Picard. I need to, but there's so many good archaeological programs on at the moment that
there are, aren't there?
Yes, that gorgeous Alice Roberts has got a great series about historic towns, or as she calls them.
I love that. That's been going for a few years.
I know, but I love it. Historic Tains, as she calls them.
Historic Tains, yeah.
I loved it specifically when she went to Bristol, her home town, and she didn't even quiver from her sort of trying to suppress her Bristolian accent. She's great. I do love that woman. I think she's so beautiful and funny and intelligent and engaging, and the only thing I find a bit irritating is the funny coloured hair. What else can we sort of talk about then that I've watched this week? Lots and lots of Paternity Court with that gorgeous... I keep forgetting her name when I come on this show. Paternity Court. It's a really good, funny programme. That is the only thing that sticks in my mind about what I've actually been watching. I've been trying to watch some genealogical programmes, but there's not a lot of them around at the moment. That was that... what's that programme with Davina McCall in it?
It's that program with that person in it.
I don't know. Big Brother, Traitors?
Davina McCall? Traitors?
I don't know. I don't watch those kind of shows. You always ask me.
You're supposed to be help me out. You're supposed to be help me out. Right, okay. That programme with Davina McCall.
The two Americans on the show have no clue whatsoever.
Lost.
Do you mean Claudia Winkleman or Davina McCall? Because
Davina McCall. Long Lost Family. When they do the updates. So that has been on the last few weeks. That's been quite good. It's called Long Lost Family. What happened next?
Jumping on my microphone.
I don't care. Right then, can you recommend anything to our to our listeners, Debbie?
Who?
Yeah, we've been watching Doctor Who. We talked about that for the whole episode. No.
Who are you asking?
Oh, I watched the thing about Dionne Warwick. That was really good. A documentary. And there was one about Little Richard as well. It was on last night on BBC. I must try and watch that tonight. Yeah. Debbie, what have you got anything you watched that you can recommend to?
I watched that American Manhunt, the Boston bombing.
Oh yeah, is it any good?
That's pretty harrowing.
I won't watch it then.
Yeah, they apparently did that to commemorate the 10th anniversary, I guess.
10 years already? My goodness.
To say that, but yeah, there you go. That's exactly what they did.
I heard a news story about it.
Yeah, no, it's the commemorative, commemorating the event, and
I don't tend to watch the harrowing stuff, Deb. It's like that Stephen Lawrence documentary. I couldn't watch it; it's too harrowing.
Fair enough. I also like to watch My Lover, My Killer, which is always entertaining. Yes. Gets me all nice and relaxed for bedtime. I've watched a lot of Flavorful Origins, which is actually narrated by Giancarlo What's-His-Face, who plays Moff Gideon. So in The Mandalorian, so it's quite interesting because his voice is so soporific and lovely, and there he is being mean to Grogu. It's like yeah. So I've watched Mandalorian.
What is it?
Don't give any spoilers.
I'm not going to give any spoilers. I haven't watched the last episode yet because Isla keeps dithering.
What is it that you saw him in?
What?
You said that he was in something else besides The Mandalorian. What?
Flavorful Origins is the narrator.
Oh, okay.
Also been watching a lot of stuff on iPlayer. Obviously watched the London Marathon today because a couple of my friends were in it, and actually for the first time ever I wasn't bored by the coverage on BBC. It was actually really interesting and fun and factual. Still haven't got around to watching the last episode of the Feast of Great British Menu, the banquet time. And I've been catching up with Stanley Tucci in Searching for Italy because that's just a lovely programme too. But other than that, it's been quite a lot of Disney as well. Because Isla likes Disney Plus, and she also watches a lot of things like Avatar, The Last Airbender. She's rewatching that, so I watch that at the same time, and always enjoy it.
Oh, those, yeah.
The Last Airbender, not the Avatar movies.
I booked my seat for Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I was confused there because it sounded like you were referring to one then the other.
No. Avatar: The Last Airbender is the actual.
Last Airbender is fantastic. Love it. I mean, it's on Disney Plus there.
No, it's on Netflix there.
Yeah, it's on Netflix here.
Yeah, and I tried the new Great Expectations. Didn't enjoy it.
I've never liked that. Any of the versions.
I studied it big time at school. We had to.
We had to read it at school.
We had to conceptualize the first chapter as our own movie, and we got to film it down at the local churchyard. And all sorts.
That would make it a little bit easier.
Ross Kemp's.
Oh no, that was fun.
Debbie. Ross Kemp's got his new series about when he goes diving at wrecks and whatnot.
I don't normally watch Ross Kemp things because I don't like what he does, but that sounds pretty intriguing. I'm always up for a bit of a wreck dive.
He's great. He does the Mary. I can't speak all of a sudden.
I was going to say, he can't do the Mary Rose. It's not underwater anymore.
If you let me finish the bloody, it's like having Kirby on the show.
They put a sprinkler back on.
Can I speak? Right. The Mary Rose, most of the wreck was lifted and put on display, but the bow section wasn't.
Yes,
the bow section is still in the Solent.
Yeah.
And he and his little diving buddy did a dive on it and found some artifacts down there. That was really interesting. But
I loved watching that come up originally, when they originally rose the Mary Rose.
Both his series 1 and this series of his show where he goes and dives wrecks are absolutely brilliant. I have to recommend it. And I've got my tickets.
I haven't gone diving for years.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We booked our tickets for that in a few weeks ago. Which movie? Before I move on to Kirby, Lavazi sent me a lovely newsletter. Now, if you can join their mailing thing, and it's always very good because they send offers out and whatnot. But their newsletter says the monsters who nearly replaced the Daleks, and that was the those weird sort of circular shaped things. It says Daleks may be the most iconic of Doctor Who monsters, but there was a time when they were almost exterminated from our TV screens. And you can click on a read more, which then takes you to the article. So you get more than just scarves and brilliant cosplay facilities at Lavazi. And they do mention, of course, that back in stock is the 7th Doctor ? Pullover, which is one of my most favourite items. But if you buy one, you can't wear it because it would get ruined. Yeah, and there's a picture of the Master wearing that said pullover. And
don't forget whowon.co.uk.
In a minute, I'm doing this at the moment. The 5 Doctor Who planets that you must visit, and who counts as a Doctor Who companion, which is topical for what you said earlier on, Kirby. And if you can see all these things via the Lavazi blog, go to it. Brilliant. You get a free diary when you order something as well. And whowon.co.uk also has some stuff.
Is that whowon.co.uk?
And Kirby, what have you got to say about what you may or may not have watched this week?
I actually watched a couple of things. Finished The Mandalorian. So saw it 3 times now, the last episode. Really considering going back and now watching everything. But one thing that's funny is every time I try and watch it with the Geek Daughter, we are using the Watch Together feature on Disney Plus, which tends to fail more than it works. And if she tries to send me the link, it always starts at the first episode instead of whatever episode we're trying to work with, and then it goes into these loops randomly as well. Anyway, so finished Mandalorian, loved it, and I was just going through Netflix the other day and went, oh, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is back on Netflix.
Hooray!
I love that movie.
Don't know what that is.
What?
It's a movie worth watching.
It's worth watching. If you, it's it's like, how would you describe it, Debbie? How would you describe it? Gaming, comic book.
It's a geek out.
It's geek.
It's Geek Fest. Yeah.
It's extremely Geek Fest.
Geeks and nerds all together.
It is so much fun. Yes. Try and watch it, except that's Adam's not going to watch it from that description.
No, I've got other stuff to watch first, especially Star Trek Picard. Okay, thank you.
So that's it for what I've watched this week.
Do you know what? We sell because I work for Marks and Spencer. We sell a vegan version of Duck L'Orange.
Do you? What,
So-
just an orange?
Correct. Well done. Guess what? Mary has not been prepped for this particular section of the show because she was sure we weren't going to do it again. So I'm going to put Mary on the spot. But she's a professional.
Well, I've been listening to a Big Finish story.
Yes.
Hey.
It's a third Doctor adventure called Kaleidoscope, and I think they are looking to replace the monthly adventures, which used to be 4 sections long, similar to the TV series. You know, we always had 4 installments. So the monthly adventures followed that patterns where a whole story was told over 4 installments. But with this new box set with the third Doctor, they're doing a 6-part. And I have to confess that it's kind of dragging me down. I keep listening to it for a while, and then I lose track because it's got a lot of characters
Is
in
that
it.
a line from Game of Thrones, by the way? The kind of dragging me down. Okay, carry on.
And all the major characters are played by, of course, other actors because none of them are alive at the moment. And I think that that Tim Trelord does a great job as the third Doctor. And I can't think of the name. John Coleshaw, whatever.
John
plays,
Coleshaw, yes, I know who you mean. I've met him.
He plays the Brigadier, and I think he does a wonderful job. But the sad thing is that the actor playing Sarah Jane Smith is actually her daughter. And I don't think she does as good a job as sounding like her mother. And I met her at Chicago TARDIS, and this was their big exciting thing was, she's coming in to play her mother's roles. But I think she sounds a little too hyper and excited. And I just don't remember Sarah Jane. I mean, I know she was energetic, but the woman playing her is just a little too much. But anyway, so it's 6 parts, and for my sake, it goes on a bit too long. It's people have complained that these box sets with like 3 or 4 hour-long stories does not provide enough character development. So I think that's why they're going into this super long format. But I kind of keep falling asleep or becoming distracted and doing other things, and then I lose track, so I have to go back and listen again. I may just give up on it, but I would love to hear if anybody who is still listening has had experience listening to this particular story, if they can let me know if they feel differently.
I had heard that Liz Sladen's daughter was going to do that voice. I was interested in actually getting that one because Sarah Jane is my favorite companion. So
yeah, I know. Yeah,
really,
she is.
And I love that picture of when her daughter was little, and there's a picture of her dressed in Sarah Jane's outfit from her Andy Pandy outfit.
Well, her daughter's name is Sadie.
Yeah,
and like I said, maybe she just needs to settle into the role a little better. But for me, and my sake, and maybe I just don't know the Sarah Jane Smith character well enough, she just sounds a little too excited.
I'll see if there's a little preview out there. And
Yes,
see what
there
sounds
should be a preview for you to listen to, and maybe you could give me some.
I've got another Big Finish question. Since talking about the story we just talked about today, has Mark Williams ever come back to do Rory's dad again in Big Finish?
No. There's never been a story with Rory. In fact, who plays Rory?
Rory, that's played by Arthur Darvill.
Arthur Darvill, thank you. Arthur Darvill, the only Big Finish that Arthur Darvill has even done has not been any, Rory roles, of course, because the 11th Doctor is not in Big Finish yet, except as told by companions. stories, but he's been in their classic stories. The one he did extremely well was Frankenstein. So even Arthur Darvill has not been in there. And I think to get Rory's dad in there, they'd have to start doing Matt Smith stories, which they haven't done yet. They may not have permission, or Matt just may be too busy, or something's going on. But there's no 11th Doctor. There are 9th and 10th Doctor stories, and I think Capaldi has said very definitely that he's not going to do Big Finish. But then I know that Tom Baker said that too at one point.
Yeah, I mean, that's really surprising that Capaldi has said that he's done with all of Doctor Who.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I have not read anywhere that Lewis Capaldi said he's not going to do any Big Finish. Deb, have you read this?
No, I haven't read it anywhere.
No. So if Lewis Capaldi has not said he's not doing Big Finish, then he may well indeed be on it at some point.
Peter Capaldi?
You said Capaldi, you didn't say Peter. I could have been Lewis. Lewis is more famous than Peter at the moment, isn't he?
Well, I've definitely not heard of any of Lewis Capaldi doing it, but I'd also not heard of any Peter Capaldi doing it.
I don't know who Lewis Capaldi is, so
I've got some questions because we have Americans in our vicinity. You know that line from the American national anthem that goes "Land of the Free." I always wonder if you're in prison in America, and obviously you would sing the national anthem. Do they not sing that bit? The land of the free.
It's a rather silly question.
Well, I haven't been in prison to know.
Haven't you?
Being the vindictive person I am, I would say yes, because I'd make them.
I don't think. Where in the song does it say "Land of the Free"?
Oh, I don't know. They've been in words.
Oh, okay.
I seem to remember Whitney Houston. Creating the more elaborate version of the American national anthem.
Well, there you go. Her more elaborate version included about 20 new notes that never occurred.
Oh, leave her alone. She's a legend.
Yes, that's true.
The era in the
what on earth was that? Leave her alone.
It's one note.
She's wonderful.
No, I'm not just saying just her. I'm saying around that era.
Yeah. Her and Mariah Carey created that.
Christina Aguilera, Mariah Carey, Whitney.
They do it well.
Jewel,
They do it well.
Everybody's had their go.
The warble. Yes. Yeah.
That's right. So, I've got another question. I'm just going to look down my list of questions here.
You need to write down a list of questions for Americans.
Not necessarily
Americans.
Americans.
I have a question for the Brits.
Yeah, there must be millions.
All right, before you do your questions for the Brits, here's a question for you.
Why do you have eggs for dinner?
Shut up. What's a Yorkshireman's favourite musical note?
Careful now.
It's E. Usually followed by a bar of gum. Go on, I'm waiting questions because it'll help me find the questions I'm looking for.
So many TV shows and movies that feature Brits.
Yeah.
It seems like they're constantly drinking tea, and I just wonder, is that normal? Do you guys drink?
Yes.
Well, most of them drink coffee.
In the course of a day, you do, huh?
I have
Coffee.
about 6 to 7 a day.
I just drink tea, but I love tea.
I drink tea more than I drink anything else.
But most people drink coffee.
But I drink rhubarb. I drink red bush tea, and absolutely get off my computer, you daft melon. Ugh, sorry.
You recommended to me getting the Yorkshire.
Oh yeah. No, Yorkshire tea, decaf as well is the best.
Second best is extra strong M&S tea.
I drink rhubarb. I drink Yorkshire tea. I don't like floral teas, but I quite like jasmine tea out of all of them. I think that's nice.
Why do you like red bush?
I love red bush. Yeah, always. Why? I don't. It's quite earthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a black tea like?
Yeah, I mean you can have it either as it is, and it's kind of a red. Obviously, the red bush. It's from a red bush. It's a bit nuttier than regular tea. Oh, okay. I have it as normal tea. I have it with a dash of milk and a bit of sugar, which is how I've always had my tea, and it tastes terrific. I've really got into that as a different thing for me having than
I used to like Earl Grey when I had sugar in my tea.
Different flavours and things through the day, but yeah, Yorkshire tea the best. And then Red Bush I have as well. M&S Red Bush, actually, the best one.
M&S, the gold pack, the extra strong tea is really nice. Anyway, I have what's this? Oh, I found something.
Yeah, but we
here.
all drink
my
tea.
wife.
There's not, if you haven't at least got one teapot, you get one when you get married.
My wife came up with a. Be quiet.
And do you all eat toast for breakfast?
I generally, yes.
I ever see
Marmite.
Toast
Excuse me,
for breakfast.
toast and Marmite, yes,
Toast,
definitely.
butter and Marmite, or marmalade more in our house.
No, definitely toast and Marmite in my house. Well, I do. Nobody else does. Anyway,
I've been interacting.
Stupid amount of bread a day.
I don't know if you've noticed the last couple of weeks, if you are on Twitter and follow the official Marmite Twitter.
No, I don't.
But I've been interacting with Marmite, and they've actually liked some of my comments.
Well, that's nothing. Boy, George actually liked and shared one of my tweets once. Anyway, my wife come up with something.
We eat tea and toast for breakfast.
Eat tea and toast. My God.
Occasionally for lunch.
Anyway.
Okay, and eggs for dinner.
And eggs for dinner.
I can't have eggs.
Quite
really.
happily have poached eggs for tea sometimes.
Anyway.
What's wrong with
Americans
eggs for dinner?
especially, like, that's breakfast. It's like, no.
Anyway, I'll have to ring my bell to shut you lot up. My wife come up with something very, very funny.
I've got a point.
What?
Nothing.
The other day, I needed to go to the toilet, the number 2 type of toilet, and
how lovely. TMI.
Will you let me finish? What a bloody hell! It's Andy Nanny Sonny on the show.
You told me we wouldn't talk about that sort of thing on the podcast.
It's just but it's topical. Anyway, I need to go to the toilet for number 2. Anyway, so I pick my phone up and put it in my pocket, and she goes, "Why did you grab your phone? Is there an app on your phone that wipes your bum for you or something?" I thought that was hilarious. And it made me think about back in the 60s when people used to take newspapers to the outdoor loo, and then they use the newspaper to wipe their bum. And that reminds me of a film called Till Death Us Do Part, with a character called Alf Garnett in it. That's one of my favourite films from that time, actually. So I was trying to find the question.
Yes. What?
There's a YouTube channel that I follow. I don't know if you follow this one, but these questions for the Brits reminds me of that. It's a YouTube channel called Lost in the Pond.
Right, that's something to avoid then.
No, it's a British guy who's
do that.
What?
Is it why do the Brits do that? They're weird.
This guy, he just became an American citizen, but he's British, lives in Chicago suburbs.
Chicago.
And he does these interesting videos about differences between Brits and Americans.
Excuse me, did you say they're interesting? Are you sure?
Yes. Anyway, go and find his YouTube channel. It's very good.
Do you know?
At least I like it.
Well, not because I try to do humorous stuff, and I think of a lot of humorous stuff, and if I don't write it down, I forget it. So I tend to thoughts that come in my head. I've got my notes on my phone. I've got like thousands of things. But there was this instance at work where we sort of wind each other up, and my work colleague had been winding me up, and I just said to the manager, "Look, I can't remember the word. Oh yes, grievance. I want to report a grievance." And he says, "If you don't give me silence, you'll get some violence." He said. I thought that was hilarious. Oh dear. Anyway, I'm still looking for the note.
A flat.
Carry on talking if you like. While I'm trying to find the question that I did to find it, and I accidentally clicked off it.
B sharp.
That's one of my cleaner jokes.
How about that as a fact?
Yeah. Carry on. This has gone quiet. I don't like it.
Brits drink a lot more wine than you think.
I'd like to add some wine, but I haven't got any.
Go and get some.
Can't read that one out.
I'll nip downstairs away.
I did have this one. I thought of it. It says because there was I saw a TikTok.
We don't like beer.
Saw a TikTok where it started off with a bloke saying, "Do you agree with the following statement?"
No.
And I said, "No, because the statement should not be followed by statement the. It makes no sense." No, I thought was quite funny. Yes, American football is to be banned because the defensive line found their opponents offensive. I thought that was quite a good one.
No.
Shut
No.
up, you. Who nobody asked you.
Shut up, you. I like that. Thanks.
So, are we recording next week?
No.
No?
No.
Why not?
Well, my work colleague Brian, who's very tall, has got his 60th birthday, and
Oh, I
he's
know
such a nice
Brian.
chap. And he sent out a little circular yesterday saying that on next Sunday at 7 p.m. could everybody accumulate? Is that the right word? At the fountain to celebrate his 60th birthday. And I wouldn't normally for a work colleague, but because it's Brian, I feel inclined
Brian's lovely.
to
You've got
attend, and so does Isabella. So I'm going to attend Brian's birthday shindig. It's only a case of going
Okay,
down and having a few
so we
drinks
will
and chat.
deal with the Western one on the 7th.
The Western one on the 7th. Yeah, I think it's quite right. Can I check my diary?
Yes, please.
Now I've lost the page. I was going to update the diary about something completely different. Wasn't
Skipping next week, right?
Brian's
next
60th.
week, yes.
It's Mary Lang birthday, 7th of April, it says. So what's happening on... That is the day after the coronation. That'd be quite interesting to see. Mary Lang, what are you doing on regards to Mary Lang's birthday on that afternoon? Oh, she's gone quiet.
I don't know yet.
You don't know.
It's not up to me. It's up to who's ever planning whatever.
So you could or
Right,
could
I'm
not be
flying
on the show.
over.
I tell you what, if Mary turns up on the show for her birthday, we must do something very special. At least sing "Happy Birthday" to her in tune. That would be quite a novel thing. wouldn't it?
No.
June, there's a challenge.
And I am not available on the 14th.
Oh dear.
Isla's 13 next Friday.
You were 13.
No, Isla is.
Oh, sorry. By the way,
I'm a teenager. How did that happen?
Teenager.
I have to
Oh,
say
my
before we go,
goodness, look at-
I have to say, well,
Katie,
happy
run for the door.
birthday to Isla. Good luck for having her as 13. By the way, God, that's the worst age for teenage girls. Anyway, I just found out that my wife has been cheating for years. I found out that when we were playing Monopoly, she used to nick £500 out of the blooming bank. I always wondered how she was able to stay in the game for so long. Anyway.
Yeah, do you know what? My dad used to do that.
I used to do it as well. I used to, not when I was playing with the family, when I was playing with some girls when I was a teenager. They were constantly talking, messing around and stuff, so I just used to slip the old 500 underneath the board.
Cheater.
Yeah. Eater? Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, I did eat at some
cheater.
point. What's this one here? Oh, yeah, I like that one.
Are we still recording?
I found a cat.
Yes, we're still recording. We've
Yeah, we're
not
going to stop in a minute.
discussed
But
Doctor Who
I found
for
a cat
while.
in the road. Hang on. I think I found a cat in the road. I think he might be dead. To which case you would say, "Is it moving?" And I would say, "Well, it made me cry, so I guess so."
Oh my God.
Is it moving? Oh, for God's sake.
Anyway, right. So that concludes the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast for this week. Somebody watch it or listen to it or do something. Otherwise, I won't bother doing it anymore.
Hey.
Bye.
Just don't take it into the bathroom with you.
Yeah. Oh, God.
No need for that.
The 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast is an APV services production, sponsored by whowon.co.uk and lavazzi.co.uk. We are a proud member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance. Doctor Who is a trademark of the British Broadcasting Corporation. No copyright infringement intended.